Hi everyone, I am Sandy, and today I'm back with the special Wednesday Reads, and it's special because I get to talk about a few things that are part of the channel AJ Dunn Reads and Writes. I've gotten to know AJ over the last couple of weeks because we've been doing a buddy read with Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl for Northanger Abbey, which I will be talking about in this weekend's 1001 Book Countdown. But it has been really nice because we've been doing Zoom calls, and I've gotten to know both AJ and Jolene and one of our subscribers, and it's been so much fun getting to know them a little bit. So today I do have 3 books to talk about, but first, if you've watched my channel, you know that I sometimes have a bit of a memory problem and have claimed to be part of the Bad Memory Club. Well, now it's official because I actually have a mug that says the Bad Memory Club. We were talking about this at one point, and then AJ, being the industrious person that they are, created merchandise, and you gotta love that. So of course I had to order a mug to make my induction into the Bad Memory Club truly official. I will leave links in my description to the merch if you actually want to go take a look at it. But yeah, I am now official part of the Bad Memory Club. Makes me so happy. There was no criteria to get in. I just had to order something. So yeah, yay. But the other reason why this is so incredibly special and very cool is, if you don't know, AJ is also a writer and had a middle grade book published. I believe it was back in 2017, if I remember correctly. Yes, in 2017. Unfortunately, you can't go buy this book and you can't get it in a digital version, which is really a shame because it is quite the fun middle grade book, and it is called October Jones, The Lightning Pines Mystery. So the first part of this book is really cute, and I want to read the first little bit. It says, I wondered how many hairs grew out of a person's head. Joey's head must have had 1 trillion spiraling around. I wondered how long it would take to count them all. It was mind-boggling. Toby! Miss Tanner's stern voice startled me, and I jerked to attention. I crossed my hands on the desk in front of me, pretending to look like a model student. Had she asked me a question? Frantically, I looked at the whiteboard at the front of the classroom. The thing is, I tend to get into trouble. I never mean to, but sometimes it happens. I notice a lot of things and get distracted easily. Often I do or say things that without thinking. I call it curiosity. My dad calls it mischief. Miss Tanner calls it trouble. So of course I immediately liked October Jones because just anyone who is a kid that's getting in trouble because they're distracted, kindred spirits a little bit though. So just the start of this really did pull me in. And so what happens in this book is that there is a event that happens at Lightning Pines, which is a cemetery, and October decides he's going to investigate and goes in the middle of the night to try and figure out if he can figure out what happened, and unfortunately is implicated in the next event that happens, and then spends the rest of the time really trying to figure it out so he can get out of the serious trouble that he's in, including detention, including some pretty big things. So one of the things that I really enjoyed about this book is that so often sometimes I see or read stories with a child trying to solve a major mystery, and it doesn't seem necessarily very believable that a child of a certain age would have been able to figure out some of this. And in this case, this story actually is very believable. It is one that you think a child could possibly figure that one out. As an adult reader, I did figure out who done it a little before the main character did in the book, but I think for a middle grade reader, it actually would be a little bit harder to figure out. But I really did enjoy it. I'm so sad you can't buy this one because I love promoting independent authors or small authors, and this one is just such a sweet story. But unfortunately, no. And of course, I can't give you any star ratings because I'm hugely biased for this. But yeah, it is a really fun read, and I'm sorry you can't go buy it, even in a digital copy. But the book that I did pick up absolutely 100% because of AJ is AJ's favorite book, which is actually Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls. So if you've read this book, you know, if you're a dog lover, this is a tough book. The last 80 pages or so, I was reading this book and wanting to put it down and wanting to keep reading because I knew it was going to be difficult for me. It follows the story of Billy, who you first meet Billy as an adult, and he sees a dog fight in the neighborhood and goes and interrupts because what he sees is a dog who is a coon dog, which is the same dogs that he had when he was a young boy. And the rest of the story up until the last, I think, couple of pages is told from Billy the young boy's perspective. And all Billy wants as a child is 2 dogs. And Billy lives in the backwoods of the Ozarks. His family is extremely poor. They don't even go to school. He doesn't have shoes. He's often traipsing around in the wilderness by himself. But all he wants are these dogs. And he pleads and begs with his parents to get these dogs, and they're just too expensive. So Billy actually figures out a way to save money to be able to buy them himself. And it is just an absolutely delightful story of him and his dogs and him teaching them how to hunt. And they are always together. They don't want to leave him ever. He doesn't get to go to town by himself. They always follow him, even if he says stay home. They are absolutely wonderful, wonderful companions to this young boy. And I wish I could say it ends really well. But yeah, it's beautiful and sad, and you find out really early a little bit of the tone of the book, which leads you to that last 80 pages or so where you're going, oh, okay, something's going to happen now. Something's going to happen now. But it is truly, truly lovely. I didn't quite expect this. I didn't quite expect to be as moved by this as I was. I am a big dog lover, and the very last part of this book, yeah, I definitely cried. I cried probably twice, actually. And if you've read the book, you know I have cried twice at the end of this book. If you are a dog lover and those types of stories really impact you, this one's going to be rough. I mean, this one's going to be, it's such a beautiful story. If you can pull yourself through it, I highly would recommend it. I did give it 5 out of 5 stars. And it is actually also one that I really do want to reread. I know AJ reads it on an annual basis. And part of me just wants to go back and experience Billy's time with the dogs again, because it is so incredibly wonderful. But I posted this picture of this book on Instagram, and a lot of people said that they read it in like 4th grade. Like, there is some serious violence in this book, and I can't imagine reading it at that young age. As an adult reader, I was like, oh, it definitely was rough. And that maybe as a way of teaching about loss, I'm not sure, but yeah, very, very tough. But also, I think I said in my tag video yesterday that one of my favorite characters in this is the grandpa, because he kind of helps Billy without really letting Billy know how much he's helping him. Like, did he help him pay for the dogs? I know he helped like get in contact with the people who had the dogs, but did he pay for some of it? And just kind of how he helped Billy. I really liked the grandpa, and the grandpa was clearly so proud of him and just was constantly bragging about him to everybody, and just, yeah, it was really lovely. So the grandpa, I just like him quite a bit in this book. I thought he was a great character. But yeah, Where the Red Fern Grows, I don't know why it took me to my current age, which I'm not going to tell you, to read this book. So, but it was, and there's quite the glare on that at times, but it was really a wonderful book, and one I would highly recommend. So yeah, Where the Red Fern Grows. So the second book, I honestly didn't remember seeing on AJ's channel. I was looking for a book to read with my friend Sonia, who she wanted to do a buddy read. It's our first buddy read. She's my friend in real life. And I gave her a list of books, and she said, oh, why don't we read Gilead? Because I saw it on AJ's channel. And that just made me smile, that someone who didn't really go out and watch videos until I started is now all over the booktube community supporting other content creators. And I just love that so much. And she's joined a couple of challenges, and she's also taking the she's also doing me a huge favor, which is to read Pamela with me, because I am now about 150 pages in, and I just, yeah, I'm going to put it back down. Maybe I'll talk about it in a couple weeks. But we did pick up Gilead by Marilyn Robinson because she had seen it on AJ's channel. And so this is the story of a elderly father who is writing a letter to his young son, and he knows that he is dying, and so he is trying to impart all of this wisdom to his young son through these letters which are his experiences with his father, with his grandfather, his experiences watching his son play, and this just experience of really knowing that he's dying. And there are some very funny moments in this. If you've read this, the story of the horse in the tunnel is okay. It's really clever and funny. But there's a couple of the story points that for me, I just struggled with. One is the Jack Boughton character, who it's really tough to know what's going on with him or how he influences the story, and his big reveal for me wasn't necessarily that big. This was actually just written in 2004, so I don't know why the Jack Boughton storyline for me wasn't necessarily as moving, and it was a little bit confusing. It says on the back that he was the namesake for his best friend's wayward son. So that part of it for me was the part where I struggled a little bit. There's also some religious pieces in it which weren't necessarily my cup of tea as much, but the idea of a father writing to his son I thought was really very, very moving. One of the things I did also struggle with in this book is that because he's thinking about different things, the point of view or the time switches around quite a bit, and this is where being in a buddy read really helped me with that, because my friend Sonia was mentioning that, I don't remember where she heard it, but she was mentioning that memories don't come to you in linear order, and that really did help quite a bit with reading this particular book. But yeah, I will say I enjoyed it. I will say it was a very easy read. We didn't struggle with this one, thankfully, at all, because after this one, I'm not making her read Pamela, but she's a good friend for reading Pamela with me. I feel so bad, but not that bad. I feel a little bad that she's reading Pamela with me. But yeah, I do think it's worth a read. It was a Pulitzer Prize winner. Interestingly enough, this one's not on my 1001 book list. The next one in the series, which is Home, is on my 1001 book list, but this one actually is not. I ended up giving it right around the 3.5 rating. I think Sonia gave it around the 4-star rating. Yeah, I'm saying I definitely did like it, but it wasn't in my top book. So, but yeah, that was Gilead by Marilyn Robinson. So with that, that's the end of my Wednesday reads. I hope you really enjoyed it. I wish I could point you, like I said, to AJ's book. As always, like, comment, describe. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you until next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.